right, how's it going, everybody? Happy Thursday. Today's the 19th, and we are going to finish up our week on Asian religions by discussing three different religions today. Now, Tuesday, Wednesday, we went through two different disciplines or philosophies, right? We went through Confucianism, and then we went through Buddhism. Today, we're going to change gears again and go back to what we consider actual religions. And remember, the defining characteristic, it doesn't mean that one is real and one's not, right? What it really means is, are we dealing with divine above in the afterlife figures that created us, or are we dealing with ways of thinking and behaving like we see with Buddhism and following that eightfold path, and Confucianism and following the rules that are set for you, right? And like having respect for anybody who's an authority figure, whether it's family, emperor, stuff like that. So today we have three different ones, and I just really quickly want to go through those and show where they are in the world, just talk quickly about what their basic core principles are, and then I'm going to turn you loose. This should probably be the shortest video that you have this week, okay? So just really quickly, let's go to the Google Classroom page and just remind you, look at that warm-up, make sure you get it done. Today's warm-up is asking you, oh, I like this one. So if there are even number of letters in your last name, I want you to list four things that nature has or produces that people admire or like. And then if you have an odd number of letters in your last name, I'd like you to list at least four things that nature has or produces that people find dangerous or sad. And the reason that we're talking about that is because really this first religion that we're going to talk about is based off of nature and its positives and its negatives in terms of how it shapes not just people's lives, but the world as a whole. Now, just in case you don't know where this is the island of Japan. So I have a world map here. Oh, come on. And much better. So that would be right here if we're talking about in terms of the world. But just really quickly, I wanted to show we have a very high following of people in Japan that follow this religion. Now, Japan is an isolated island, and not only are they off of the mainland of everywhere else in Asia, for the longest time, they didn't really like to make contact with just about anybody. So this religion is really focused just in Japan in general. It's still followed, but not as closely as it used to be. Now, in this religion called Shinto, they follow a particular god by the name of, well, it's a few gods, but they're called the Kami. It's a group of gods. Once again, if you ever watch Dragon Ball Z, Kami is like the protector or guardian of the entire world. They directly got that name from the Shinto religion. Basically, they're not going to have, if they have temples, they're going to be very small places, but where they worship is actually going to be in places where nature really shows through. So like at a lake, let's say, or at the base of a mountain, places that people find appealing and feel connected to nature. Over time, it really was like the only religion in Japan. But World War II, unfortunately, after the United States occupied Japan, it did fall out of favor and it's not nearly as practiced as it used to be. When you go into your reading later on, if you choose Shinto, you'll see that the amount of followers or adherents are very, very low compared to what they probably were at one time. So the next one that I want to talk about is another Indian religion, very, very diverse place religiously, India. And I just think that's super, super cool. So if you can see right up here, there's a very small pocket, and there's some others too, but really one big or small, I guess, concentration of a lot of people that follow this religion. They're known as Sikhs. Now, Sikhs are monotheistic people, meaning that they believe in only one God that rules over everything else. And they believe that that's true for all religions. Now, it's interesting because if we go back to yesterday, you'd look, and this area up here is very heavily influenced by Islam. Now, Islam is, if you're a follower of Islam, you're known as a Muslim, right? It is interesting that even though there are some differences, I do see a lot of similarities in Sikhism and Islam. And probably the main thing is that there are 5 particular things that people are supposed to do to demonstrate their faith, by having your hair uncut, by usually keeping a comb in your hair to signify cleanliness, to have a sword, to wear a bracelet, and then long undergarments or breeches. Now, in Islam, there are 5 pillars, and they're a little bit different because technically those 5 things that we talked about are all based off of appearance. But it is interesting that being that close to Islam, or a very large concentration of it, that they would have both 5 key components of their religion and how to practice it. So that is interesting. It also came along very late. This was only in the 15th century or 14th century, which compared to Hinduism, Buddhism, even Shinto, this is a very, very new following, actually. And then this last one is Zoroastrianism, and it originated in this area here. We know this today as Iran. Now, Zoroastrianism is known as the first monotheistic religion in the world. So this is even, a lot of people consider that Judaism is the first, and that's not true. It's only the first of the 3 that we see followed all over the world today, which is Judaism, Christianity, Islam. But Zoroastrianism was actually created in Iran, which used to be called Persia, about 4,000 years ago. Now, there was a chief teacher / turned God figure named Zoroaster who created this religion, and he had a bunch of different principles that he believed in as being important. But really what his philosophy or idea was is that he understood that everyone on earth had a struggle between good and evil. Now, that's nothing new, right? That's something that's brought up even out of religious circles. But what I think is very interesting is that in temples are places that people worship in Zoroastrianism. Rather than having an altar that you see at a lot of other religions, at the center, they're going to have one of these. And this is an eternal flame. Now, the reason why this is such an important relic or a centerpiece of these temples is that Zoroastrians believe that there is a flame that burns, and this is metaphorical or figurative, right? Not literal. That there is a flame that burns inside all of us that allows us to continue to strive to be good no matter what. And if that flame were to go out inside of you, your soul would perish. It's the same thing that happens in these temples. These are eternal flames. They never go out. And there is a lot of care taken to be sure that that doesn't happen, because if it were to go out, it would symbolize the death of one's soul, right? Which would be a terrible, terrible thing. Now, this faith is barely hanging on by a thread. And I'm not going to say it's their fault, but they do not allow marriage of anyone outside of their own faith. So they can't have any new followers. So there was a time where this was a very inclusive, popular religion, but because of practices, they can't get any new followers, and they don't really actively look to convert or change people to their religion. So it is, I don't want to say it's dying out, but it definitely is nowhere near as popular as it was probably 3,000 years ago. So, ladies and gentlemen, that really is just a quick overview of these religions. Now, I just want to show you what your exit ticket is today, because it is a little different. But I think it'll be, at the same time, I think it'll actually be kind of neat. So I've got your reading. Oh, shoot. Did it not save? Okay. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to add this in right here. So what we're going to do is you are going to be given a reading based off of these three religions. Okay, so it'll be put on your exit ticket section right here, and it's in a Google Doc form. Now, I am giving you the opportunity to pick one of these three. You can pick Shinto, you can pick Sikhism, or you can pick Zoroastrianism. By the way, if you're looking to see like, oh, which one is a shorter read, they're all the same. So that isn't going to do anything for you. So you're going to pick one of those and you're going to read it. Now, obviously, can't stress it enough, do the split screen. You do the split screen, you can answer your exit ticket while you read it. Now, you're going to have to write 4 sentences, and one of them I'm going to give you. So the religion I chose was blank. There's your first sentence. Now, here are the 3 sentences that I think you need to get out of your reading. Number 1, where in the world the religion came from. Second, name of the chief god worshipped, creator or main figure. And lastly, what are things people do to practice the religion? What are either books that they read? What are practices that they do? Customs that they follow? All of these are answered in the readings, okay? So you pick one of those 3 and create that paragraph, okay? Don't forget that your weekly assessment is going to be posted 4 o'clock today. I actually am going up north. I am going up for deer hunting, so I will not be around this weekend. And the place I'm going doesn't have internet, so I am going to be going dark for this weekend. But remember, you don't have school next week, right? We're prepping to go to full distance learning after Thanksgiving. So finish strong, everybody. Get that weekly assessment done, get this assignment done, let yourself unwind, relax, and then refocus so that we can come back on the 30th stronger and readier to learn than ever. Okay? All right. Have a wonderful day, wonderful weekend, wonderful next week, and I will see you on the 30th of November. Take care, everyone.